I'm Chasey. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings, and my little sister Lauren is 8. This is the unforgettable story of me and my sister's crazy and scary Christmas Eve last year. My family wasn't like those TV families with a Christmas tree loaded with presents or a cozy dinner by the fire. My dad worked hard, but we were still struggling with money. My mom, who was really my stepmom, drank a lot and barely cared about us. That Christmas Eve, my dad drove 3 hours to work. My stepmom got drunk and passed out in the afternoon, leaving us to take care of ourselves. I still wanted to make a good memory for Lauren. I'd saved up some money from my part-time job to buy Lauren a little gift, a dog keychain she really liked. When I gave her the gift, Lauren's eyes lit up, and her big smile made me feel like all the effort was totally worth it. Lauren surprised me even more. She gave me a handmade card with a thank you note and cute little drawings. A weird, warm feeling spread through my heart. We sat next to each other, all curled up in a big blanket, eating popcorn and watching Christmas shows on the old TV. Everything felt calm and happy. But then, there was a sudden knock at the door. Lauren jumped up and yelled, "It's gotta be Dad!" and ran toward the door without thinking, but I quickly pulled her back. Before he left, Dad had told me real seriously, "Don't open the door to anyone, especially on Christmas Eve. That's when bad guys can take advantage of things." Lauren still wouldn't listen and kept trying to run to the door. She looked through the peephole and shouted, "It's Santa Claus! Chasey, open the door!" But I felt a sense of unease rising in my heart. I looked through the peephole and saw a guy in a red suit and a Santa hat. But the look in his eyes was nothing like I'd imagine a nice Santa would have. His cold stare at the door made my skin crawl. I pulled Lauren away from the door, trying to sound firm. "You can't open the door. That's not Dad, and it's definitely not Santa." The guy outside started using a sweet voice, saying he just wanted to give us presents. But I wasn't fooled. I yelled through the door, telling him to leave. Instead of giving up, he got even more patient. The knocking got louder, more regular, and kept going. He pulled some stuff out of his pocket and started messing with the lock. My heart was pounding, and Lauren was shaking as she clung to me. I pulled Lauren over to the landline to call my dad, but the phone was dead, and my sisters and I just got more and more freaked out. At this point, I decided to call 911, but the operator didn't believe me and thought we were just messing around. I felt totally helpless and hopeless. Meanwhile, Lauren ran upstairs to wake up her stepmom, but nothing could get her to wake up. Lauren ran back down, hugged me, and then just broke down in tears. Outside, the sound of the door being broken down kept getting louder, and the creepy guy's laugh sounded like he was enjoying watching my sisters and me freak out. I had to come up with a way to fix this situation. I looked around the living room and stopped when I saw the smoke alarm on the ceiling. An idea popped into my head. I decided to create an emergency so the fire department would come and help us. I grabbed a roll of tissue, lit a small candle, and held it up to the smoke alarm. The fire alarm went off loud, and about 10 minutes later, I heard the fire truck siren. We sighed in relief when we saw the headlights shining through the window. But what was even crazier was the guy outside the door suddenly yelling really loud. He said he was our dad, pretending to be Santa Claus, but got stuck outside. His voice came through urgently, asking the firefighters to break down the door. The fear that hadn't completely gone away hit me even harder. My hands were freezing, but the worry about my sister's safety and mine made me feel stronger than ever. I knew that right then, I had to act fast. I remembered the family photo hanging on the wall in the living room. I quickly grabbed the photo, ran out, and cracked the door open, holding it up with shaky hands. I told the firefighters everything that happened. The guy outside wasn't my dad. He was a scammer who'd tricked us and was trying to break down the door. When the firefighters gave him suspicious looks, the creep immediately turned to run but got held back. The police were called right away, and the guy was quickly restrained. Once the situation was settled, the firefighters called my dad's work to let him know about the emergency. My dad came straight home that night. When he found out what happened, he was really mad. He and my stepmom got into a huge argument and then decided to get a divorce. My dad said that me and my sisters were the most important things in the world. My dad also switched jobs so he could spend more time taking care of us. That Christmas Eve was super scary, but it also made me realize how much power and responsibility I have as the oldest sister. And most importantly, it brought a change to my family, a new start to a better life, one without fear or lack of love. I'm Jackson, 14, living in a small town in the Midwest. My house is smack in the middle of a sparse forest where oak and maple trees stretch as far as you can see. A week ago, my parents had to go on a business trip and left me home alone to take care of the place. My mom asked our neighbor Kate to check on me the first day, and my Aunt Tabby was supposed to stay over the next day. Like most teenagers, I was pumped to have the place to myself for a whole day, free to do whatever I wanted. But then the quiet of the house, the eerie stillness of the forest, started creeping in, wrapping around me like a thick, dark curtain. That first night, I lay in bed, the soft yellow glow of my nightlight making the room feel less empty. But the peace didn't last long. There was a knock at the window. At first, I figured it was just the wind, but the tapping kept going, steady and relentless. When I pulled back the curtains, all I saw was darkness. But on the glass, a message appeared in the steam. I am looking at you. As I tried to make sense of what was happening, a piece of paper got shoved under the door. On it, in messy, slanted writing, "Do you want to know the secret of this house? Play my game." I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking, and tried to call my mom, but all I got was no signal. Right then, the lights started flickering like crazy. Then boom, total blackout. Panic hit me hard. I ran to the front door, yanked at the handle, but it wouldn't move. The latch was locked from the outside. A voice drifted in from the window. "I used to live here before you came. This house has secrets your family never knew. I can help you find them, but you have to do what I say." I was trapped, my own house, and I couldn't get out. In that moment, all the fear of a 14-year-old kid swallowed me whole. I couldn't say no. He slid another piece of paper toward me. "Go to the storage room under the stairs." The basement was a place I almost never went. It was dark, damp, and reeked of mold. With a shaky flashlight in my hand, I felt my way through the old wooden door. In the dim light, I spotted a big metal box buried under a pile of dusty old bottles. I pried it open and nearly dropped it in horror. Inside were rotting animal remains, cat bones, dog bones, even tufts of rabbit fur. The box reeked of death. My hands were shaking so bad, I let it go. "This is just the beginning." From the window came a low, chilling voice. "Go to the living room and look under the wood floor." I yanked up the old carpet in the living room and found a cracked floorboard. I pried it open. Sitting underneath was a glass jar filled with dried blood and tiny bone fragments. I couldn't tell what kind of animal the bones belonged to, but something in my gut told me they'd been there a long, long time. I picked up the jar, and as my flashlight hit it, my breath caught in my throat. Inside were several shriveled, dried-up human fingers. The fingernails were still there, but the skin had shriveled up into wrinkled, leathery patches. My whole body shook as I stumbled back. "Who are you? Why are you doing this?" He didn't answer. Instead, his voice drifted through the window, low and icy. "You want the truth? There's one more place. Check the kitchen cabinet under the sink." I don't know why, but I listened. Fear had shut off every logical thought in my brain. I was just moving, like a puppet on strings. The second I pulled the cabinet door open, a disgusting, stomach-churning stench hit me like a punch to the gut. Among the rotting trash and crumpled plastic sat a black garbage bag, knotted tight. As I peeled it open, the first thing I saw was hair, dark, matted, then smaller pieces of bone, and buried deep inside, something that made my breath stop cold, a severed human hand, the skin pale, stiff, frozen in time. I let out a scream and fell backward, but I couldn't tear my eyes away. That hand, it clung to my mind, wrapping around me, pulling me down into a nightmare I couldn't escape. Then, he stepped into view, standing outside the window. This time, he wasn't wearing a mask. His face was hollow, his eyes bulging with red veins, like he hadn't slept in years. "Did you see that?" he whispered. "This used to be my house. I lived here when it was abandoned, but then your family came, and he chased me away." He pointed at the plastic bag. "That's what I left behind. Proof that I was here. The animals I found. The people who tried to make me leave. You have no right to be in this house. It's mine." Then, out of nowhere, he lunged inside, gripping a massive hammer. I didn't think. I just swung the baseball bat to him with all my strength. It connected with a sickening crack. Panic had taken over, wiping out every other thought. Eyes shut tight, I just kept swinging, again and again. He finally hit the ground. Still. By the time the police got there, they found everything I told them about. Animal bones, human fingers, and the twisted tools he used to hunt and store his works. The human arm in the kitchen drawer was confirmed by DNA to belong to a guy who'd been missing for years. He used to live near the house and had a rocky history with the stranger. Turns out, he was the one who tried to kick the guy out when he was squatting there as a homeless man. That stranger had been using the house as his hideout for years. He had killed, dismembered, and stashed the remains in different corners of the house, his sick way of marking what he thought was his. The police found out he had a long history of severe mental illness, paranoia, violent outbursts, the whole deal. In his twisted mind, this house was the only place that made him feel safe. Losing it had pushed him over the edge. After everything, I couldn't go back to that house. I can't shake the feeling of being led step by step, like a puppet dancing on the strings of a madman. Every time I close my eyes, I hear his voice. I see that arm. In the end, I realized that real danger doesn't just come from the monsters hiding in the dark. It also comes from broken minds. Society left him behind and shoved him to the edges, and in his loneliness, he built a twisted world of his own.